Welcome to the Actors Talk. I have an amazing opportunity to speak with Mr. Jason Gregory. And we are here at UCF where he is a professor of screenwriting.
Yes, yes.
Um, and in the English department,
In the
right?
English
All
department,
right.
correct.
All right, I got that
Yeah.
right. All right. So Jason is not only a professor here, a teacher here, he's also a lecturer, a screenwriter, a producer. What else am I missing? An author, which I can't wait to get into talk
Yeah.
a lot about your book. So I want to start with something easy, something just a
Okay. Let's
okay?
do it. Let's
All
do it.
right. What are you watching on TV right now?
You know, it's. I'm so glad that
See?
you asked that question because I watch TV a lot different than most folks do,
Okay.
and my wife gets on me about this a lot because I ruin the TV watching experience for everyone,
Hmm.
and I have taught my students to do the same exact thing. So I no longer just watch TV. I study TV. I study the characters. I study the character dynamics. I study the character arcs, the story arcs. I will break it down and to when Act One ends, Act Two begins, Act Two ends, Act Three begins, and the cliffhanger. Like I study all of that, and sometimes I time it as well.
Okay. What do you mean time it? You time it.
Time it to see how long some of the scenes are.
Oh, okay.
Because one thing that I try to break my students out of is writing long scenes.
Hmm.
Get in the scene, get out of the scene. Bring us, if there's a conversation that's going on, bring us in at the middle of the conversation. Don't bring us in at the beginning of the conversation unless there's something very important that happens at the beginning of the conversation.
Okay.
So, yeah, I watch TV for those moments.
I understand. I get it. I get it. If you could collaborate with someone as a writer, whether that be a director or a producer, who would you collaborate with?
Jordan Peele.
Well, there it is. No
Absolutely.
doubt about it.
Jordan Peele.
Okay.
Big Jordan Peele fan right now.
Okay.
What he is doing is amazing. He has created an entire genre,
I agree.
for himself. And he's creating little Peels out here. You
Hmm.
know, um, it's horror, but with a black spin on it, like a black take, so it's like social commentary on what's happening in the world right now.
Yeah.
And I love writing about those same exact things, and I'll do it in a fashion of horror. I'll do it in a fashion of comedy, drama, whatever. But I love everything that Jordan Peele is putting out right now.
That's good. That's good. I think a lot of people would agree with you on that.
Yeah, and Donald
Yeah.
Glover. Donald Glover as well.
I love Donald Glover
Atlanta
too.
was groundbreaking.
Yes, it was.
I don't think we'll ever have another show like that again.
Mm.
And of course, you can't really talk about Atlanta if you don't talk about Insecure,
Yeah.
because
Oh.
Insecure was groundbreaking as well.
Mhm.
And they were just two completely shows, but they really reached the same audience. It's
Yeah.
like left brain, right brain.
Yeah, yeah. Watching Insecure and really researching and looking at Issa Rae and what she did, it changed my life.
Yeah.
It really changed me, the way that I look at myself, the way that I look at the world. It was good. I don't want to go too deep into that,
Yeah.
but I'm a big Issa Rae fan, definitely.
So to answer your question, I'm watching a little bit of everything right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That you doing your homework, you
I
doing the
am.
work.
I am. I
Yeah,
am.
yeah. All right. Well, before we get into talking about quick tips for writing,
Uh-huh.
I want to ask you a question about reinventing yourself. So,
Yeah.
how do you do that? If I was your student and I came in and I said, well, I'm trying to reinvent myself. Maybe I was writing stories like this. Now I want to write stories like this. What advice would you give?
I would say, figure out what your passion is,
Hmm.
because I knew growing up that I wanted to be a filmmaker, but when I got out of undergrad, I got my undergrad degree in film production as well, and I used to intern for Tim and Daphne Reed You're probably too young to know who they are. Tim Reed, and I always throw this one out. He was the dad from Sister Sister.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
And Daphne Reed was the second Aunt Viv on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay.
So they had a film studio in Petersburg, Virginia, and I was their very first intern. And I was excited. I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. I just need to hurry up and graduate. I graduated, and instead of following my passion, I followed money. I went into advertising, started selling radio advertising, making great money. Then from radio advertising, went into selling television advertising for Fox TV here. And then from there, started my own ad firm. Now, you use some of the same muscles, but it's still a little different because, you know, in advertising, you still get to write, you still get to direct, but it's very short form. It's like 30-second, 60-second commercials, things like that. But I knew my passion was to really get into film. So at 46, I went back to school. I think it was younger than that. I'm sorry, but I went back and got my grad degree to help reinvent myself and become the person that I feel I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I always encourage my students to do that now while they are young. The great thing about where we are right now in time is that Gen Z is going to do whatever the hell they want to do.
Yes. Oh,
If you know, they are going to follow their passion, and I'm very excited about that. Now, occasionally, I will get some students who say, you know, my parents really don't want me taking this class because they want me to be a doctor, they want me to be a lawyer, they want me to be a politician. And I will tell you, I had a young lady who was in my class, and she was a double major. She was a business major and an English major for creative writing. Had never thought about screenwriting, and by the time she went through all of my courses, she was like, I'm going into entertainment business.
nice.
And she found her passion.
Yeah.
And that's what I encourage a lot of people to do. The sooner you find out what you are passionate about, the better off you will be in life. The happier you will be in life.
Yeah. So you sound like you sow into a lot of people. You give a lot of advice, and I mean, as a teacher, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But you give a lot you give a lot out to people. How do you keep things for yourself? Like, how do you feed your own soul? And we'll plug in Miss Monique here. But
Yes, yes.
how do you feed your soul? If you're here all day and you're continually giving information, giving your expertise, what do you do just for Jason?
You know,
Maybe a hobby or something you like to do just by yourself.
you know, it's sad. I have no hobbies.
A lot of us.
I have no hobbies. You know, for the longest time, writing was my hobby until it became my work.
Yeah.
So, you know, it sounds so cliche, but it doesn't feel like I work. And my wife and my kids will tell you that. Dad never works because I'm so happy with what I'm doing. I'm so happy with teaching. I'm so happy writing whenever I get a chance to write. During this semester, I'm so involved with the students that I really don't have time for myself. And that's kind of like, to your point, where I lean on my family to kind of like pull me out of that space sometimes because I get too deeply involved with my work. And I don't cut out that time for me.
Yeah.
And I think during the semester, I can't really get any of my own personal writing done because I'm so focused on the students. I want to get as much out of them as possible. And I really get excited showing them, introducing them to what they don't know. And then once they know it, we're on a different level. And I watch them get excited with their aha moments. And then we go to another level where they can't stop writing.
Yeah.
And then the greatest reward for me is when they come in and say, I watched this film this weekend and I broke it down. And I'm like, yes, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. So we turned that self conversation right back into your students.
Yes, I love
But
the
that's
students.
okay. That's okay because you're sowing seed right now that is gonna later on produce the harvest for you. So you just keep doing what you're doing if that's where you are in your life. So your lovely wife, who I had the
Monique.
opportunity to meet
Yes.
before our interview. How long have you been married?
21 years.
21 years.
21 years. And I know she doesn't look it. I do all the aging for both of us. You know?
No, no, she is beautiful.
Yeah.
And as I was looking at your profiles, and I continue to see pictures of you and her throughout the years, and I thought that was a really great example for anybody looking at that. It's like, this is somebody that before even meeting you, you could tell that you two have a great relationship, a partnership, and what you do together and what you're building, and that there was a lot of love there, and growing together with somebody like that. What advice would you give to, say, a young couple who are in the process of reinventing themselves, or maybe going back to school or building something new, and they're also in a partnership?
Yeah.
What advice would you give, sort of that Black love advice
Yeah.
that you would give to a young couple?
Get counseling in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because and I'm not just talking, with a religious leader or anything like that, but if there's an older couple that you love to be around, get around them more and have them almost like mentor you, and because they want to help you avoid the pitfalls that they went through.
Yeah.
They will give you advice like, I don't recommend you do this. I don't recommend that you do that. But at the same time, let you go out and still make your mistakes, and bump your head and come back. I would also say, don't put expectations on your partner that you don't want put on yourself.
That's good.
Yeah. But yeah, we have been through a lot, and you are going to go through a lot in your marriage. It'll either make you stronger or it'll make you weaker, and you'll just break up. And I'm fortunate that it has made us stronger, and we have a great family. We have two great sons. My youngest, I couldn't be more proud of him. He just started his own car washing business.
Hey.
At 17.
Yeah.
And somebody wrote up about him on Facebook yesterday, gave him a shout out, and all of a sudden he started getting more clients. He also goes around and cuts grass. He is a natural born hustler.
Yeah.
He wants to make that money.
Yeah.
And we realized that about him I think it was elementary school, where he would start selling candy. And then one day he came back and said, "Yeah, I've got 2 employees." And we said, "What do you mean employees? You're in elementary school." He said, "Yeah, I have them, going out and selling candy for other people."
Putting the kids to
and
work.
I said, "So are you paying them?" He said, No, I just have them working for me, and I pay them in candy." I said, "We got to shut this little candy operation down right here, because this sounds like a gateway business to drugs." So we shut that down.
Yeah.
But he's always been an entrepreneur, and we love that. And he's watched us, build businesses. My wife was very successful. She used to have an Italian ice business when we first got down here, and then she grabbed a hold of real estate and is doing very well in real estate as well. Then I had Gregory Media Group, for advertising and filmmaking and everything. So he stands by and watches us. And then there's our oldest, which he's a sports guy, sports fanatic, and you never know what he's going to get into. So, we have, it's a great balance.
Yeah.
It's a great balance.
They learning all of those things from watching you guys work.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So to go back to your point, advice that I would give is, love hard, play hard, but at the end of the day, know that it's you and your family against the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
About fatherhood, we're gonna air this on Father's Day. So
Okay,
just so you know, okay?
Okay.
So I want to know, what is your favorite part about being a father? And so this is a 2-part question. So your favorite part about being a father, and also what do you want your sons to take from you? Something that when they have their own children, they have their own families, they can incorporate these things and say, "This is what I learned from my father. This is what my father instilled in me."
Good question. Favorite thing about being a father is it's my favorite thing, but also the scariest thing. It's just hearing that word dad. because I'm like, oh my God, I got to take care of somebody. They're talking to
Something
me,
comes with it.
right?
Yeah.
But I love hearing, Dad, hey, can you help me with this, Dad? Because you still feel needed, you still feel wanted, and you're gonna miss those days when they're gone from the house and they don't really need you anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll go off and start their own families. And the thing that I would hope that they would take to their new families from our family is unconditional love, support, resilience. Make sure that you're always dating and courting, and we, my wife and I don't do it as much as we probably should right now, because there was so much that was happening, at once. But
You don't do
as much dating, as much
much
dating,
dating.
yeah, as much dating.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to continue to date, get out,
Yeah.
go do things, and I would hope that my sons would do that as well.
Yeah, keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go to
All
different
right.
places, see different things you haven't, get different experiences.
Okay. All right. So we are rolling. This is going very well. It's because of you, by
I'm
the
talking
way.
too much, right?
No,
I'm
no,
talking way
you
too much. Yeah.
no, you're not. So I want to talk a little bit about the work. I want to talk about your book, and you also had a class,
Hmm.
the side. You tell me what it was called. The side
The Side
hustle.
Hustle Screenwriter
Okay.
presents, and we had a seminar based off the book.
Okay.
So what I did, I wrote the book, and then I said, okay, let's see if what I wrote really applies. So we had a 6-week course here at UCF, and it was just people who were interested in getting into screenwriting out in the community. Some are involved in Orlando independent filmmakers. Some are involved in the film community in some kind of way, or it may be something that they're dreaming about. And the reason I called it Side Hustle Screenwriter is because a lot of people that I run into who want to write a screenplay, they always say, I have a story, but I don't have time to write it because I'm working full time. I'm hustling. I'm out here scratching and surviving like like Good Times. So they're burning the midnight oil trying to get this story out. So we're all side hustlers in some kind of way. So I just happen to be a side hustle screenwriter that brings together a community of side hustle screenwriters who at least want to complete their first screenplay. So I said, let me create this book, then let me have a seminar and see if all the information that I wrote in the book applies to them, if they're able to apply it.
That's good.
And it was great. It was great. I think our first class, we probably had about 12 to 13 people.
Okay. Are you going to do it again?
I
was it?
am. I've been getting a lot of requests for it. I just really have to find the time because, again, I'm trying to get my own personal projects out as well. Things that I have been sitting on for a couple of years and have been wanting to write. But I would like to do the class again.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
All right. So, in writing, quick tips for writing. Can you give us one tip from your book that you would give to somebody? Say, just like you said, they also have a full-time job, but they know that they want to do something. They know they want to write. Can you give us a tip from your book that would help a writer in that position?
Yeah, I think I've been kind of hinting at it for a while. Protect your time. Your time is so valuable. It's something that you just can't get back. So my family knows that when I put my hoodie on, that's my time. I need to sit. I need to focus.
Yeah.
I need to, I can't really be interrupted because if I do, it's going to take me out of that frame of thinking.
Yeah.
So protect your time. Whether it's late Saturday night, instead of you going out to the club, sit in your apartment and knock out 5 pages of something. Even if it's nothing, just write. Just get something down on paper. If it's early Sunday morning before you go to church, sit down and write some stuff. Go to church, come back with some stories. I do a lot of people watching. So when I go home and I finish people watching, I'll write down exactly the type of folks that I will, that I watched.
Oh, that's
their
good.
mannerisms, everything, because I could probably build that into a character in some kind of way. So protect your time is extremely valuable.
That's a good tip. Very good. And like you said, writing down what you saw, that's big right there. You
Yeah.
can get some really You go in every place and you say, "There's some characters in here,"
Yeah.
and they really are.
Especially Walmart.
Yeah, oh, Walmart.
Yeah. I
I was
love
in
just going to,
Walmart yesterday. I was like, "What is going on in here?" And I don't usually. I'm an early person, so I
Yeah.
do all my stuff during the daytime. At night, it's like, okay, this is what's happening on the weekend. So that was different for me. A bunch of people I didn't even know were in the city were in Walmart.
Walmart, when you walk in, the theme song should be "The Freaks Come Out at Night."
Even in the daytime, even in the day, yeah,
I
yeah.
could
It was
spend
one of
I
those
could spend
things.
hours in Walmart just people watching. You know, and sometimes those, you know, stories will come to you as far as, like, you know, if you want to write a TV pilot, what I want to write a TV pilot about, you know, Superstore. No one ever thought we'd have a TV show about Superstore. It's
Yeah.
like working at Sam's Club, but you know, there were probably some crazy personalities in Sam's Club or, you know, BJ's or wherever, and they said, you know what, this might be a pretty good idea for a store.
And it worked
Let's for a pilot, let's build in some characters.
Yeah. I love BJ's, by the way.
Yes, 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 yes.
Wholesale for
Yeah.
big families, yes.
Yes.
All right. So where can people find your book? Where can
On
they?
Amazon.
Okay, on Amazon.
On Amazon.
All
Look up
right.
The Side Hustle Screenwriter Presents Quick Tips to Selling Your First Screenplay.
Okay.
Now, this isn't for someone who's got years of experience, unless they want to brush up on their skills. This is for the person that needs a quick guide to get them started on their way to writing their first screenplay. Because I run into so many people that say, you know, I picked up this book, I picked up that book, but it's too thick. There are too many pages. I don't have time to read all that information. So I just condensed the knowledge that I had over the years, put it in a small book,
Yeah.
and just said, use these quick tips to get started. I just need you to get started.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's the best piece of advice for people who say, I want to do this, I want to do that. Just start. You
Yeah.
got to start somewhere.
Yes.
So this is a good start to that. That's really great. That's
Thank you.
really great.
Thank
And
you.
I bet you met a lot of interesting people, a lot of people who actually have the passion to do it, especially if they signed up for your class. They already halfway there.
Oh,
they,
yeah.
You know, they just need something a little more to get them there.
Yes.
So through your coaching and even through your teaching here, what do you hope that your students take away from their time with you? What do you like? If I could just get this through to my students, you know?
That I cared. I hear from so many students that say, you know, I never really had a professor invest this much time in my work, or I never had a professor break it down the way that you did. Because there's a formula, and I kind of showed them a formula, and I created my own formula as well, you know, again, you know, with this. And I want them to know that they do have a support system. There's someone here that cares about their work, that wants them to be successful, because I tell them, hey, look, I'm for hire. If you go out and you become successful, I'm for
Holla
hire.
at me.
Yeah. And I also tell them, when you walk out these doors, you represent me. So you go to somebody and you aren't up to par, don't tell them you took my class. Because they know that if I send you somewhere that you're already vetted, I've already trained you, you've gone through all of my courses, I put you through the internship as well, and you know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking too much.
No. No, I'm okay. Thank you. Okay, yeah, and that's why I love that you can just stop.
Yeah, stop, take a break. Yeah, yeah.
Get right back to
You
it.
need a break. We can break.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. Okay, so for you, what is I want to ask you what's next for you, but I want to ask you, what's your ideal role in entertainment? Like when you said, I'm going back for my master's in film production, okay?
From UCF.
From UCF.
Yeah.
What was your goal for that? Because I want to talk a little bit about, you know, some people will say, well, it seems like there's a culture now of people saying, I don't want to go to college. It doesn't, it doesn't, you know, it's not going to get me anywhere. There's no jobs. There's no money. I could do this and I could just be an entrepreneur and still get somewhere. But so back to my first question. What is your ideal role, and what did you want most from going back to school for your master's?
Good question. When I went back for my master's, I immediately knew that I wanted to get involved in the film industry. And I think the goal when I graduated was for us to move to Atlanta, to just completely jump into the film industry. Um, but this opportunity popped up, and it was an opportunity that I just couldn't pass up because it would allow me to further develop my screenwriting skills and develop others at the same exact time. And now I'm in a place where, I've been teaching here now since 2019 in the English department, but then I was a TA, a teacher's assistant, and teaching my own classes when I was in the film department. So, and that was 3 years. So, I'm going on, 8, 9 years now. And I'm starting to look at other opportunities. And my ideal position would be to become a full-time writer and producer, because those are both my loves. I can't really tell you that I love one over the other. To me, they just are natural. They come together. And I would love to continue to develop other people, because it's just a joy that I get watching that aha moment when people really get it, when it clicks and they're like, oh my God. And they tell me, I can't watch TV or films the same again. You've ruined me. And I'm like, that's what I wanted to do. That's my goal.
That's good. I think that you will continue to do that, and you looking at this opportunity to be here as development, that's big. It's a job, but it is developing you to go on and do something that you have probably no idea. I can just tell the way that your story is going, and the way that Monique's story is going, and now you will be transitioning to Atlanta. It's happening.
Yeah.
It is happening, and we talked a little bit about that. That you will potentially be relocating.
Yes.
So you will be in Atlanta.
Yes, we are fortunate that again, opportunities pop up, every and anywhere. And we had thought about moving to Atlanta years ago, and then my wife got an opportunity to go back and get her grad degree. Then we said, okay, well, once you get yours, I'll just go back and get mine, and then we'll go ahead and move to Atlanta. So we have put our dream of Atlanta off for a while, and now here we are. And we just took my youngest son to Morehouse College for a campus visit last year. And lo and behold, out of the blue, my wife gets an opportunity to work at Morehouse School of Medicine. So she is there now. We couldn't be more proud of her. It's an amazing opportunity. And she gets to, as her boss said, she gets to put her hands in the concrete and not just continue to manage standard processes. And I'm very proud of her.
That's good.
I'm very proud of her.
Yeah. That's good, and you're a part of that too. It all works together, and it might have seemed like it was supposed to be then, but it's now, or it will be now. But it's all working together, and I love that. I love stories like that, because you can't help but to feel that God is in it. Something is happening here, and it's supposed to be happening that way, and that's special to me. So
sometimes you just got to get out of your way.
Yeah,
you got to get out of your way, and that happened with me here. I was on the verge of graduating. Didn't have an opportunity for Atlanta just yet. My wife was still here, and so again, God, out of the blue, opportunity came for me to apply for this position. I applied for it with no formal teaching experience and got it. And I was like, this is only God, because I was up against some stiff competition. But I think they could see how passionate I was, and how my students' reviews really showed my passion. And I think they were like, let's give them a shot. And here I am.
Look at your heart for your students and how much you care about what you're doing. Just to even say that, I just want them to know and to say that you cared. That's just so big, and I know that you're going to go above and beyond what you probably even thinking right now. So that's really good.
Trying to get that Tyler Perry money.
Let's get it. Let's get it because it's out there to get.
Yes, it
It's
is. Yes,
out
it is.
there,
Yes,
you
it is.
know. So and you will. Atlanta is definitely where it's at.
Thank you. Thank
A little bit about some of the projects that you have had the opportunity to work on as a producer, and you also mentioned that you had a media group.
you. Yeah, Gregory Media Group.
Gregory.
It was my advertising company.
Okay, okay.
And we started to kind of turn it over into a film production company. And I just said, let's kind of pump the brakes because I want to have complete separation. So this time is good right now where I can actually go ahead and do that, focus on my writing, and then go ahead and walk into something new.
Okay. All right. So you got your hands while you were walking into something new. You got your hands on some pretty prominent projects.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of them that two of them I will mention. Before I even had the opportunity to know you, I watched Buried by the Bernards, which is
Yeah.
now streaming on Netflix,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I think it was like one of the first times me seeing a black family running a funeral home, however you say it, and doing it the way that they were doing it as a family in that position on Netflix. It was just different.
Yeah.
It was very different, and you were a part of making that happen for them.
Yeah.
And they were really interesting.
I love the Bernards. I love that whole project. It was, and it came out at the perfect time because
Think so.
we wrapped right before COVID had gotten serious. This was February 2020. I was in Memphis where it was shot, and all of a sudden we started hearing, this noise about, there was this virus that was coming, and no one really took it seriously or anything like that. And we were like, all right, let's hurry up and just get this in the can, and we're finished.
You never know if it's a government scheme or
Yeah, you
just
never
gotta
know.
wait
You
and
never
see.
know. You never know. And then, of course, everyone got shut down. And then I think, the very next year, we premiered it. So I was very, very happy with the process. And I was a consulting producer on there, which, working with Scott Sternberg out of LA. He was our executive producer, and it was just such a great opportunity for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I also looked at One Pint at a Time,
Uh-huh.
which I really admired. One Pint at a Time. I really got in there and read their website, everything that they were putting out about the project, why they were doing it, because you just see a trailer or you see a poster with a cup of beer on it,
Yeah.
and you're not really, well, I'm not really a big beer person, so maybe this is not something that's for me. If I was scrolling on Netflix, I would say, oh, it's just a beer. But when you get in there and you read about it, I just wrote a little bit about it here. The creator said, my curiosity and desire to understand the lack of diversity within the craft beer industry led me to create One Pint at a Time.
Yeah.
I think that that's so big. They talked about the backstory of it, the origin of it, where it came from, and how black creators or black craftsmen are only receiving 1% of.
Yes, 1%.
So that was like, this is something that I can get into, something I can support and get behind. I'm not a beer connoisseur, but I do drink beer, and craft beer is really special because of the people that make it, because of the ideas and the ingredients that go into it. So I found that one really interesting.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm not a beer connoisseur either, but I thought that the concept was so interesting, and it's a good friend of mine, Aaron Hose. He is the writer, director, producer for it, and it was his thesis project as well for grad school.
Very nice.
But it was unlike any other thesis project we had seen before.
Yeah.
And it had legs, like it had a story. It really had, it had meat to it, because it was talking about an industry where black people were locked out of. And in the story, you had a young lady, Alyssa Mercado, who's up in Connecticut, and she started her own craft beer business, Rhythm Brewing. And
Okay.
a lot of doors were closed to her because she was not only black, but she was also female. And craft brew business is majority white men. It's like it's a club. So when I saw One Pint at a Time, I said, "Oh yeah, I've got to attach myself to this.
Yeah.
This is something special here."
Yeah.
And it's winning awards, not just all over the country, all over the world.
Yeah, internationally. That's
Yeah.
dope. That's dope. So talking about thesis project, I don't know if I'm correct when I start talking about Waking Up White.
Yeah.
What was that project for you? How did you? No, I'm going too far. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Was that your thesis project, or what that was?
Yes.
It was. Okay. So where did the idea for Waking Up White come from?
Just turn on the TV. Everything that has been
Literally.
happening, I just said, you know what, I've got to like find a way to like really document all of this. And I think there was one night where I was watching television, and it was another young black man that had been shot down by the police. And there was an older black woman, and she said, "This wouldn't have happened if we were white." And I said, "Man, there's something there." And I just kept wrestling with it and wrestling with it. And I said, "You know what? Yep, waking up white." I said, would the grass be greener if we woke up white? So I put pen to paper, came up with, the like a mini short to apply to the film program. Luckily got in. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a feature. And then later, as I got into it, I said, no, this really needs to be a series, because we need to be able to follow these characters and follow everything that they are going through. So we said, okay, well, let's go ahead and do it as a TV pilot. So for my thesis project, I said, I'm going to shoot a TV pilot. And that's where I got to meet so many great people, like Milda as well.
Yeah. And Essex.
And Essex,
I met Essex at a networking event, and he was just great. This was before I knew who he was.
Yes.
He's a really great person, and at being able to work with him. As a filmmaker, how do you communicate with cast and crew, executives and everyone? To get them to be able to do sort of what you need them to do? What is your communication process like with, people in the industry?
Trust and collaboration.
Yeah.
The industry is all about collaboration. You notice not one person. I only know of one person who like did his entire movie by himself, and that was Robert Rodriguez and El Mariachi. But he didn't act. He didn't do any of that or anything like that. But yeah, it's about trust and collaboration. I have to trust that if you are an actor and you have been cast for this role, that you are going to give me your best.
Yeah.
And Essex gave me his best. Eddie gave me his best. Babe, Monique. Oh, she's gone. Eddie gave me his best. Sarah Von Perry gave me her best. Like everybody gave me their best. And
there she is.
Oh no, that's all right. I remember. And it was a great collaboration, because there would be times where I would sit and ask them about their advice. Like, how do you feel about this line? Let's try it a different way. And sometimes, Essex would tell me, he said, "Can I try it this way?" And I'm like, "Go for it."
Absolutely.
And his way was better than, how I had originally written it. And that's that trust and collaboration part right there. If you're bringing this crew together and these actors, you have to be able to trust them that they're going to help you get the best out of your project.
Very good. And here in Orlando, there are a lot of film festivals. I think that's the main thing. I wanna talk about. I think that's like the thing, here. And you had a big part. Or what was your influence over the Orlando Urban Film Festival?
Whew, wow. Again, we're going back to 2019, where a lot was happening.
Yeah.
So I was graduating from grad school. Before I even graduated, I think this was probably a month before I graduated, so it was April. I was interviewing for this position. I was defending my thesis project. We were editing as well. And then all of a sudden, speaking to Lenny and Sevilla with Orlando Independent Filmmakers, they told me that there was this opportunity um, to step in as the president for Orlando Urban Film Festival. And I said, no, I've got too much on my plate right now. I just can't do it. And this is, again, when you have to have a great partner that knows you better than yourself and sometimes knows what's better for you than yourself. I went home, told my wife, I said, yeah, I spoke with Lenny and Sevilla about this opportunity. And because they work very closely with Marianne Eggleston, who is the founder of Orlando Urban Film Festival and just a great person in general. And I said, I got too much on my plate. And she told me, she said, you pick up that phone and call them right now.
Yeah.
And you tell them. And I said, but babe, but she said, we will make this work. She says, because this aligns with what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I don't care how much stress, I don't care how much pressure it's going to put you under. You're going to do this. We're going to do this. So I didn't walk into it by myself. I walked into it with my wife as a partner.
Yeah.
And she's a partner in everything that I do. So I called and spoke with Marianne, and I had known Marianne for a couple of years. And we decided that, it would be a good fit.
Yeah.
So I stepped in as the president for almost 4 years. I had a great run, loved it, and put my fingerprint on it.
Yeah.
Added some workshops to it, added some panel discussions, and at that point I just said, it's time for me to go ahead and turn it over, and walk another path at this point. And it's in great hands. Marianne is, she's the president once again, and she has a great crew from LA that is working with her, and they're just adding and making it bigger and better. And I'm still working with them in more or less like a consultant capacity at this point.
That's good.
Yeah.
What do you, oh, sorry, I lost my question.
Take your time.
Yep. It was a good question, too. It's a good question.
Sometimes you got to just shut me up.
No, not that. Yeah, okay, I'll just move on from that then.
Okay.
All right.
Was it about OUFF as well?
It was, maybe it was about OIF.
OIF, okay.
So what is your influence with OIF?
Wow.
Oh, I remember my question. I want to ask it before I forget it again. When it seems like for you in what you're building, you go from like glory to glory. Literally, for one thing is better than the next. There's no going backwards. It feels like from what you're telling me, there's no backwards. But sometimes as you're going from glory to glory, you can kind of run into something that is like, oh my goodness, this is a lot of work, because I'm sure that being the head of that organization was not easy, and I think sometimes I've done it and I hit something and I'm like, oh my goodness, maybe this wasn't for me. I'm not sure if this is what me and God talked about exactly. Right? So what do you do? What do you do when you find yourself in a situation where this may not be for me? I need to
You have to think about whether it aligns with your goals and it aligns with your spirit. And every year, and she's going to get on me because I still haven't done it for this year, but every year we do vision boards.
Okay.
And we put on our vision boards what our goals are for this year, and not just what the goals are, but how we're going to go about reaching those goals. And if something pops up and it's not on your vision board, it doesn't fit within that vision in some kind of way, then I would just say, this is probably not the right time. Because again, it has to align with what your goals are, your personal and professional goals, and make sure it feels right in your spirit as well. And if it doesn't feel right in your spirit, you just, just kind of hear that, that inner intuition and just say, no, I'm not going to do this. And there have been some things that I have just had to politely, just say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue on this path right here.
Okay. Well, then it can get kind of challenging, because what if opportunities do come up? You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's coming next for you. So you get an opportunity, if someone calls and they say, well, I want you to come to, Ethiopia to shoot for me for a month.
But it aligns with my professional goals.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So I didn't have on my vision board, I want to go to Ethiopia to shoot, but I have on my vision board, yes, I want to expand and I want to do, more productions. I want to do this. So it aligns with what my professional and personal goals are.
That's very good.
And
Very good.
OUFF did the same exact thing without me even thinking about it.
Yeah.
It aligned with my professional goal to, further develop myself.
Very good. Very good. So, what is your involvement in the Orlando Independent Film Festival, OIF?
Those are my people.
Yeah.
That's my crew. I think they started in April of 2016, a couple months before I started grad school. And I think I found them on Facebook, and at the time there were probably only like 40 people involved. And it's a big Facebook group.
Oh, yeah.
They're over 10,000 now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge group. So I was probably number 41 that joined, and I've had that opportunity to watch them grow, watch them make mistakes, fail, succeed, learn from those mistakes, and get even bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's funny, we all started when I met them. I was doing comedy shows. I was producing comedy shows in Oviedo at the
I
Amphitheater.
thought you were a comedian.
Well, funny enough,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I had to. I was.
Do you sing also?
No.
Okay,
no,
just comedy.
no,
Okay,
no,
all right. Let me find out. All right.
No. I wanted to hire a host. One of the because another great thing that Orlando is known for are great comedians. There's some amazing comedians that are here, and I wanted to hire one of the top local comedians. I hate to say local because they get national exposure as well, but they live here locally. And I just couldn't find it in my budget. So I just had to put pen to paper and just kind of like do the comedy myself, to be the MC. But I hired some great comedians to perform, and we did it twice. It was called the I4 Comedy Tour.
Okay.
And
that's a good title.
Thank you.
That's a good title,
you.
Yeah.
We did it twice. We did it in June and August of 2016. And Sevilla and Lenny came on board as my crew and helped me out. They had my back 100%, and I will always have their back as well because, we all started together. We all gonna end together.
Yeah.
It's just, those are my people.
Yeah, when I did a short run for OIF, I think I did about 3 projects with them. One of the first sets that I got on, Lenny and I don't want to botch it. Please say your name for me.
Sevilla.
Yep. They were there, and when I went back and I really did my research, I was like, oh. Made it. I'm here working with the founders of this. I don't need to keep doing this.
They're such humble people. Such humble people.
They were up there. I believe it was their production company that was producing the film that I was a part of.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, that was such an honor. You don't even realize that you find yourself in these spaces with people, and it's just divine timing.
Yeah.
Your steps are ordered, and then boom, there you are, just like sitting here with you. You just find yourself here, and it's a really great experience, really humbling experience.
Yeah. Do you know that when I started, there were people there in OIF that knew nothing about filmmaking, but they wanted to be in the business. And now some of them are making a living in LA, Atlanta, New Orleans, like all over the country, probably even the world, doing what they love because they started with OIF. They didn't know anything about writing a script. They learned how to write a script. They didn't know anything about gaffing, grip, directing, any of that. So it was going to film school without film school. It was just they were learning the process.
Yeah.
And you'd have people working on not one, but maybe 2, 3, or 4 different projects, learning different roles.
Yeah.
And then, someone's maybe, a first-time writer, the next project, their first-time director.
Yeah.
And then they just get better and better and better. And believe me, we saw some bad films in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But you look at them now,
and people get better.
They get better and better and better. And
that's really rewarding.
You have to just put trust and collaboration out there.
Yeah. That's good. So what's next for you?
Good question. It's we're running into the summer. I'm teaching one class, this summer
Okay.
online. So it gives me an opportunity to like really focus on my work. And I take continuing
There you
development courses myself. Even though I teach people screenwriting, I still take classes. And I'm taking a class through an organization now called Roadmap Writers. And some nights, because they're West Coast, I'm on the phone from 9 o'clock at night to 1 o'clock in the morning. But it doesn't feel like it because it's something that I love to do. I'm passionate about it, and I'm with my people. I'm with
Yeah.
my side hustle screenwriters. It's a bunch of us who are on burning the midnight oil, developing those screenplays and getting them out.
Yeah.
So that's what's next for me. Also, trying to transition, make that move to Atlanta. My wife is already there. I need to be there with my wife and, jump into the film industry. So, hey, if anybody's hiring, holla at me.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. That's exactly how you do it, and it's going to happen for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to just pause right here really quick. Monique, I don't want to miss anything with Jason. Do you have any question for me that I can ask him here so that he can make sure that he gets it out there?
Um, no, I think one thing
Don't put me on the spot.
it's because he talks about like how he has evolved and how like he started out with Tim and Daphne Reed. But I think a huge piece that he doesn't talk about is he gave that up when he married me.
Oh, Lord.
And it took him until 2016 when he went back to school.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important because he gave it up to be a husband and a dad.
Yeah.
And then later on, when I finished school, I was like, it's your turn.
Yeah.
Sorry, a little emotional.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to get emotional too. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, it's time for you to pursue what you love.
Yeah.
Get out, because he was in like TV sales and radio sales, but it wasn't the passion and him actually writing and doing what he truly loves. So I was like, dude, you've been the rock of our family this whole time. Please go back to school and pursue your passion. So even though I'm the one in Atlanta now, I'm just paving a way for him to come. Yes, I just want him to come and just live out his dream.
Yeah.
And he's always there for everybody else. His students, he's always there at their graduations, and he gets like fabulous reviews. Honestly, the top reviews in the college, he gets the top reviews as a professor. So it just speaks volumes about him.
Yeah.
He likes the development
Mm-hmm.
of the students, stuff like that, that pipeline. So I can't wait to just watch him continue to flourish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we got all of that, Monique. We got that.
Oh, Lord.
That is the meat and potatoes. That is really rich. And people need to see that. People need to hear that part of it, because all of the sacrifices that you make, that creatives make to get where they're actually trying to go, or where they think they're trying to go, you know, it's so much that comes along with that. And when you have a partner that is riding for you, like literally just riding for you and helping you through those phases of life, that's what I call love. That's my definition of it, right?
Yeah, that's love, sacrifice.
That sacrifice. So you, like she said, you finally decided, okay, or y'all decided as a family, I'm going back to school, I'm going to do this, and things are happening. But for you to, like she said, give it up, maybe it wasn't so much of a give it up. Maybe it was just preparing you for something more and better. Maybe you would not have been able to get to where you were going if you would not have been prepared. And, God have to do that with some people. Everybody don't just, some people have to, like me, you have to get prepared. And now you're prepared, and now y'all are doing it, and together y'all made it. I'm sure there might have been some times, my husband is here with me on set too. There might have been some times where you're like, I don't know if we can make it through these hard times, but you make it, and you make it together.
Yeah.
So
because when the world is against you, your back is against the wall. Your partner has your back. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
beautiful.
That's my we Bonnie and Clyde.
That's
Bonnie and Clyde.
beautiful. And now your Bonnie is telling you, baby, it's your time.
Yeah, I thought she was trying to get rid of me because she would always tell me like, look, I don't want you to stay here because of us. If you need to go to LA to do some things, go to LA, make your way. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah.
But then lately, I've been going to LA. So like, usually during the summer, I'm in LA for a month, and I'll just get an apartment and I'll just sit there and just write. Because I'm in my zone. I do nothing but write. But this year, because there was so much transition, so much going on, it's like, no, I'm just gonna stay here and just write.
Okay. Well, that's good, and we got to hear it from Monique. Thank you for being here today, Monique.
For goodness'
This
sake,
support too, this all matters. I have two more things to say. We're a little bit over. But, okay.
I thought we were going till 6.
Until 5, and then just give us some time
okay,
to make sure that we break down and clear down by 6.
Okay.
How important is it to you that you take on diverse projects, black stories?
Extremely.
Yeah.
Extremely. I write in black.
Yeah.
One thing that I love, Jordan Peele said this, and I love this quote from him, and I'm probably paraphrasing, but someone said to him, why don't you, make your, white actors like stars or write stuff for them? And, he said, because those stories have already been told. And it's true, those stories have already been told. So, my focus is on the black experience, whether it's in Afrofuturism, which I love writing, which is or in Afro-surrealism,
what was the first thing that you said?
Afrofuturism.
Okay.
Where it's kind of like you are, what's the best way to explain Afrofuturism?
Yeah, let me know.
It's kind of like black people in space, but it's more than that. It's really about controlling your own future. And there have been like a lot of great Afrofuturistic films that come out. I mean, the biggest one is Black Panther, of course. Black Panther. And then Afro-surrealism, which is like Atlanta with Donald Glover, where things happen. You're like, did I just see what I thought I saw? Yeah, and you have to like really analyze stuff and like really think about it. And there are hidden clues in there, and I love that. I love when a film or TV show can give me breadcrumbs that I have to follow or pick up, and I go back and I'm like, oh, I missed this. So I'll watch a film like 3 or 4 times, looking for different things.
And it makes you think too, and I think that's what I loved about Atlanta. Like, it just opened up my mind and it gave me a different thought process than I usually have when I'm watching TV.
Yeah.
So
like the invisible car. Like, who would have thought about putting the invisible car in there?
Yes. Please come back with another season.
Please.
What advice would you give to filmmakers or producers that are coming up behind you, and that want to do what you're doing, a writer that's looking to do what you do? What advice would you give to them? I know we talked a little bit about it, but
it's great that you asked that question, because I was watching a video this morning. My wife and I were talking about it, and it was a live video, and it looks like they were actually having a live race. You know how they have the what's the dog champion? What is that called?
Greyhound?
The dog where they bring the dogs out, and you know what I'm talking about?
Show dogs.
The show dogs,
and they all cut.
Yeah,
nice.
so it looked like it was
something like that.
Yeah. So it looked like it was something like that, where they were having a show, normally where they always would have show dogs, something like that. But they had 2 lanes, and in the first lane was a rabbit, and in the second lane was a tortoise. And they started, and the tortoise jumped out quickly. And this is live video, nothing that was no AI, anything like that. So the hare jumped out first, and it made it halfway. And the tortoise just slowly walked, just kept walking. The rabbit went back, came back, kept staying, going back to the same exact spot. And the tortoise made its way throughout the entire lane and won. I would tell people, be the tortoise. A lot of people are jumping on fads nowadays. They're jumping on, what's hot to try and make that quick money. Be the tortoise, stay the course, and make sure that you follow your path, and everything that you work for is aligned within your professional, your personal, and your spiritual goals. Don't just jump out there to make that quick buck, because that's a path for them. And although it may look like it's a quick buck, they may have been the tortoise for a long time, and now they get a chance to be the rabbit. You know, so yeah, stay the course, and stay on your own path, and be the tortoise.
That's good advice. That's really good advice. And as we wrap up, Jason, here's a disclaimer. This is the Actors Talk, but these talks are really for me. I do all of this. Yes. Yeah, I do all of this just to sit here and be able to get this information firsthand. It's really special to me, and thank you so much.
Oh no,
so
thank
much
you.
gratitude.
Thank you, and thank you for your patience.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we've been going through it the last month. It's been crazy.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you a little bit about, what you've been. You mentioned you had surgery.
Yeah.
So now you're on the other side of that. You recovering and.
Yeah. Apparently, I have been dealing with something, and I've probably been dealing with this for over 20 years, and they never knew what it was. A lot of doctors will tell you stuff is in your head. Because I would say I'm always tired. My body hurts when I get out of the bed. I just don't have any energy. I would take medication to go to sleep. I would take medication to help me function through the day. I would take, energy drinks like throughout the day, and it just didn't feel right. And my wife would tell me, she'd say, "You look like you just pushing through life." So you just pushing through life. Let me help push you. So every time I would go to the doctor is always like, they always want to just give you medicine. And I was like, I don't want more medicine. I want to find out what's going on. And I was always in brain fog. Like it was almost like having an out of body experience, just watching yourself push through life.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up, we thought that I was having a stroke last year, a day after her birthday. We had just come off of a cruise, and I was actually scheduled to go to Atlanta the next day to go help my friend on a new show that he was developing. And I took a shower and hit the floor. And next thing I know, my wife was in there, and I couldn't talk. My hands were all bent like this, and I couldn't say anything. And she gave me an aspirin, and because we thought I was having a stroke, called the paramedics. They rushed me to the emergency room. Come to find out, I had tumors on my adrenal gland. I didn't even know where the hell adrenal gland was. I was like, is it in your head? Is it in your back? Is it in your foot? It's almost like a little cap that sits on the top of your kidneys. And it was leaking out all of my potassium. So I went into this thing called hypokalemia, what your body just kind of like locked up, because it's like trying to protect itself, but it doesn't have that oil to make it work. So they couldn't adjust my potassium levels or get them right because of that tumor. So it took a year, and I finally had that surgery because they couldn't even find somebody that could work on it. They were like, we have a surgeon, but he does this and he does this and he does this. So I went to go talk to him, and then we found a specialist over in Tampa. And this is all he does all day, every day. People come from Hong Kong, from Ireland, from Canada, everywhere, just to go to him.
Yeah.
And like he cut my adrenal gland out with the tumor, and the next day I felt like a brand new person.
Wow.
High blood pressure went down, everything, because my high blood pressure was probably 152 over like mid 90s. 2 days later, after I came out, it was 115 over 71.
And something really was wrong.
Yeah, because it was leaking out all of my potassium, but keeping in all of my sodium as well. And again, doctors, they'll just push pills on you because they're not there to find, they're there to help you manage whatever you're dealing with. So we just kept pushing. You got to be an advocate for yourself, for your health. And I had all the ologists. I had every single ologist out there. The only one I didn't have was gynecologist, and that was my next call.
Somebody, anybody. Yeah. That's good.
So now I'm off of a lot of pills. I'm off of potassium pills because I was taking 12 to 14 a day. And I was like, this is not life. This is not living. I'm pushing through life. So now I feel like I've got a second chance at life.
Oh, nice. That's so good. And I'm so happy that you got through that, because
Thank you.
people are leaving this earth left and right, especially when you're trying your best to see what's wrong. You are actually doing the work to find out, and still no results.
No,
Just
no.
medicine.
They tell you it's all in your head. It's in your head. You need to go see a psychiatrist. Like, God telling you something's
Yeah.
going on. Yeah, but I feel like a brand new person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me sad because I know that there are people right now in a situation where they may know something is wrong and they can't get the proper help,
Yep.
or they don't seek the help because they just kind of sit with it. And if you would have just sat with that, you could have lost your life.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm happy that you and your family made it through that.
Thank you.
You know, because I know it was everybody. Everybody.
Yeah.
Takes everybody getting on a journey like that.
And it hurts you even more. Like when I was on the floor and we thought I was having a stroke, and my two sons are standing there staring at me, and I can't communicate with them. That was like the scariest thing in the world for me, because I thought that I was gonna die at that moment with them staring at me. And I was like, please don't let me leave the earth like this, especially next to the toilet like Elvis did.
Oh gosh. Well, that's a good way to go out, right? That's a good way to end our interview, because we needed that laugh. We needed that. But, you know, no, for real, I'm happy that you shared your story.
Thank you.
I didn't want to ask you before about your surgery because I didn't want to get too.
No, I'm happy to share that because people need to know. People need to know.
Yeah,
You know,
they do.
That's a very rare condition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And advocating yourself is what saved your life.
Yeah.
Advocating for yourself.
Yeah. I did.
Well.
But thank you. This has been wonderful.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm sitting here with family.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know that I was meant to be in this moment with you. I don't know why. I don't know what God is doing, but I know that I was meant to be in this moment, having it at this time after your surgery.
Yes.
Because we tried to do it before, but now was the time. So I'm just feeling grateful. I'm feeling really grateful. So thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate you.
Thank you for having us here at UCF and welcoming us to your beautiful space. So
my pleasure.
Go and check out Quick Tips to Writing Your First Screenplay by Jason Gregory. You can get this book on Amazon, and it's a quick read. I'm gonna hold it up. Look,
it's very quick.
It's a quick read. Get into it because we need more things that are quick reads. Okay,
Yes.
I'm an Audible girl myself. You know, I will clean up the whole house listening to a book.
Yes.
Because sitting down sometimes can be too much.
Yeah, we're in an ADD environment now. Everything is lightning fast.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So thank you again, Jason.
Thank you.
And I enjoyed your conversation.
Thank you very much. Take care.